I'm going to first and foremost save as. I'm going to go back to my organization here of images under this project, and this one's going to be called a WebJPEG. Okay. Now I'm going to change the file format to JPEG, and I'm going to keep it as JPEG. Now you're noticing here there's a before and after. I'm going to talk about this later in a separate video, so don't worry about that right now. So I'm going to change this as a WebJPEG. I'm going to replace that because I already did it before for practicing this demo. And I like to have my image options in JPEG as the highest quality possible, and that's going to be 12. That doesn't add much data or file size to your image, and so I just make sure image is that much more or less compressed or less degraded when you're changing from a TIFF to a JPEG, and so it doesn't really seem to have much consequence. So if I hit OK, now you should notice this is a JPEG, alright? And we need to resize the dimension of this image for JPEG or for web. So I'm going to hit image size, and now I personally think the presets for Photoshop work just fine. Right now we're in 300 resolution at 10.5 by 7. We're going to want to be in pixels, but Photoshop does a nice job of giving us some auto presets here, and you'll notice we want to be in what's called 72 ppi. Don't worry about the 144 right now. If you want to get more technical, you can go ahead and look at whether or not you want to shift into 144 ppi. Those are for higher resolution screens. But right now we're jumping back to a digital interface and monitor for viewing, and most screens throughout the world are going to be at that 72 ppi, pixels per inch resolution. And so we want to stay within that as a reference point. Now you'll notice, and this, if you care about monitor resolution, you'll often see this dimension of 1024, which is kind of a or 768. You see this in YouTube and stuff like that because it's a proportionate dimension for viewing high definition on monitors. Now, what we're doing, and the aim of this, is to try to create an image that is going to give us a crisp image that won't break down on a monitor at a decent dimension that isn't too big or too small. When it's too small, it's hard to read and is difficult to see, but if it's too large, it won't fit properly on a web browser without someone having to scroll up and down or left to right in order to see that image in full. And that's obviously a problem because you want people just to see the entirety of the image at a decent size and not have to worry about any of that kind of interaction. Alright, so I'm going to choose this 1366 just to give myself a little bit more resolution than HD, just for the sake of when it blows up in WordPress. Our gallery options often are to enlarge that image. It doesn't degrade and gives us the kind of just a little bit of extra resolution we might need. And it doesn't add that much file size, so it's not that big of a concern. So if I select that, one thing you'll notice is that I was in portrait mode, right? And so it's going to try to max what is the height of that dimension on a monitor. So you'll notice that it was 1366 by 768. It's going to maximize that height in order to, which is the longest dimension of a portrait image or a vertical image. Alright, so I'm going to show you in a second how to do that and deal with that in horizontal or landscape. But right now I want you to also see the size difference, the jump. So it went from 20 megabytes almost down to a megabyte. Alright, we're in 72 pixels per inch and I hit OK. It's going to get much smaller on my screen because again I've taken pixels out. Now I'm going to back out of this and go to image size here. So this is my history tab, you'll notice up here, and you go to Window and go to History. I'm going to back out of one of my actions here, go to that image size, and I'm going to rotate this image so you can see how this would work with a horizontal image. So say that I wanted my orientation, my image, to be this, right? This horizontal landscape. Now I'm going to go back to image size, and I'm going to again fit to 1366 by 768. See how it maintained that dimension for the longest dimension of the image, which is in this case the width, and I hit OK. Right? So I'm going to go to File, I'm going to go to Save As. It's still a JPEG. I can save it as horizontal or vertical, however you want, if you want to name it or be specific, right? But in this case, I'm just going to put it on a web JPEG. I'm going to save, and I'm going to replace that image and maximize the quality. And then I'm going to show you how it previews. So if I was here in looking at the image, I have it selected. On a Mac, if you hit the space bar, it'll preview what it would look like on a monitor. Right? Okay, so that gets us through this web sizing. Again, like I said, I'm going to save or create a separate video where I'm going to show you how I want some of your videos or some of your images to be uploaded onto your website that have this feature called image comparison, which is a way of showing me a before image before you've done any editing, and an after image before you've done it, or after you've done some editing. And it in WordPress gives you an option for me to compare the two images. I'll show you in that demo, and as of this point, I think we're through our workflow. Now, I'm going to go to our course WordPress, and I'm going to turn in this image on this assignment page. So if I went to my site, I'm going to create a page. This one I'm going to call long 1. Here, just for the sake of our demo, I'm going to say 1.3 or 2. I'm going to highlight that and bold it. Maybe I'll make that a header. And then I'm going to add this image. I'm going to add the media to my WordPress. So it uploads it here. Now notice, this is selected. If I inserted this single image, there it is. Now I can choose to edit or delete this. I can add a caption here if I wanted, so I could say this is 7 a.m. We're looking ahead to our next assignment. And I could hit update, and you see there's a caption down here that says 7 a.m. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove this and assume that you have loaded more than one image. If I select all these images, you can see that I have 5 total now. You're going to have 10 for this for your previous assignment, and this one is going to be 24, coming up to for 1.3. I'm going to select all 5 of these, and you'll notice down here, once I've selected more than one of these images, there's one, it says continue. So I'm going to select continue, and it's going to create a web gallery out of these. Again, you have some customization here on your layout. You can edit up here in this edit tab next to preview. You can give captions. You can reorder the images by dragging and dropping. Then I'm going to select insert, and that's going to create a web gallery. And you can see that's a single object. I can edit or delete. If I edit, it takes me back here where I can again edit some of these. Say I don't want this image or this image. I can say update. Now it's got 3. And then if I preview here, there they are. Oh, the preview is not letting me do the... I'll go ahead and publish this so you guys can see. If I view this page now, select that, it makes it large. You can see I can... Here's the caption. Oh, down below here. Now, what I want from you again is to select this URL, copy it, and that is what you're going to turn in to me via our Google Classroom. Under the assignment, there's an ability to add a link. You're going to add that link, and that's what you're going to send to me to verify that you've done the assignment.